Okay, Monday. It's Monday of Mondays, and we are working on an i3. It's going to be an F1 blower air. F1 blower air is typically will shine on the bottom, just like the F3. But what we are going to want to do is we're going to want to go into info with the oven off, and we're just going to do a little bit of troubleshooting before we get going on this. So once we are in here, we're going to go to test mode. We're going to enter our code. I can't tell you what the password is. And then once we are in, we are going to go into our top and bottom blowers. So with this having two blowers, we can test both our upper and our lower independently. One is at 10 and the other one is at 10. So if you're ever like, I can't really tell, you can always grab a wrapper. And this is usually the best way to go. So if we snag our bottom blower and we turn it up to, let's say, 60%, we should see 60% and see our paper lift up. And then we can cycle back to 10, which should let our paper fall back down. And then similarly, we should be able to hit our top blower and turn him up. And we are getting no results from turning this up. So what we would look at this point is, if it is not blowing, it could be the blower motor itself, or it could be a dead portion of the controller. And we won't be able to test that until later. Alright, so we're going to get this packaged up, we're going to get in the back room, and we are going to start working on this and see if it's our blower or our controller. Alright, blower motor. So lower, upper. And then if we reach in, we can actually feel that this blower motor is seized up pretty tight. So whenever you reach in here, remember that it can be sharp in there. So make sure that you're, being careful. Don't go and slide your handles around in there. But your fan blades are in there. So we're gonna pull that blower out and then get it replaced. I'm gonna go grab one off the truck too, and get that out of the way. A couple little pieces and parts that we need to take out to get it out. Alright, here we are inside the oven, and we are looking at the blower controller, and we need to remove our upper, or our top blower, which is going to be on our MIM box right here, and it is zip tied, so we'll have to cut that zip tie, but we disconnect here, and we should be good to go. If we were troubleshooting and trying to figure out if it was our controller that was bad, and it wasn't obviously the blower motor, we could swap these two, and then see if the problem goes with the port or if the problem goes with the motor. So in this case, we don't really need to test that. So I'm going to cut this, we'll get this cable pulled out of here, and then get that motor pulled out. Alright, we've got everything we need. 7/16 deep, a socket, and a blower motor. Alright, new blower motor. You can see spins freely, no problems. Old blower motor, besides looking very discolored, definitely is not as easy to spin. So, and these guys we do send back and core tag. Sometimes we rebuild these, sometimes we don't. It really depends on what the market pricing is for the parts that are coming in and what the rebuild cost will be. So always ask your supervisor what's going back, but in this case, it's easy to throw it back in this box, tag it out, and they can throw it away in lacrosse too. So, all right, let's get this in, get it wired, get this back in the kitchen so they can keep cooking. I think they've probably got a dinner rush they want to take care of, so we'll keep working. sure we route everything nicely. And then after that, we want to get down here. We want to get that diverter back in place and then get a date on this motor. So that way we know when we replaced it, because we do have a part warranty on these. So if you're within that part warranty, it's really nice to know when you put one in. Although that one's been running a long time. That's pretty impressive. So anyway, let's get this guy, date it, and get these parts in. All right, technically ready to go. But what we are going to do is we are looking at the age of this oven versus our relays that are present in this oven. Now, I don't know the work, or I guess the history on this oven. I don't know where we're at with it. But that K6 is the original K6, same with that K3. If we go to the back of the oven, let's see what our age of the oven is. And we are looking at a 2013. So that relay is more than 10 years old. So, let that sink in for a second. Okay, so we've got a truck here. We've got the parts here. I've looked at the door. The door is working pretty good. I think, in my mind, it would be best for us to swap out these relays. So I'm not going to do that. Well, maybe I'll do that on camera. So we're going to swap out these relays quick and just get that done and get that out of the way. We're already back here too. So I think we should probably, as a 2013 unit, we should probably pull this guy out and clean out our exhaust port here. It's probably pretty yucky. So I think that after the drive up here, I think that is worth our value. So let's get after it. Not really as bad as I thought it was going to be, so it still can breathe pretty good. I realized I didn't explain what this is. So this is our exhaust port. And on this, it's basically to allow the chamber to vent to atmosphere. So otherwise it has a catalytic converter in it that's constantly recycling the air that's in there and burning the grease. And in this case, when this gets clogged up, it can't vent to atmosphere. And then we have, little problems. So what you want to do is just take your time, kind of clean it out. Usually I throw a rag on the ground because you end up with a lot of buildup. And if you're not doing this on your repairs, it's a good habit to get into. There we go, nice and open. And then when you're looking at the bottom, you can take this guy out and clean him, which I probably will go and clean him quick, and then put him back in, or you can get a replacement. I will put on the screen what that replacement part is, and then you would just take this guy out and then put in a new foil pack. So it's not too bad, but they do play a critical role in that chamber actually being able to breathe to atmosphere. So it's little things like that that make a big difference, get a little bit more life out of these ovens. So all right, I'm gonna go get this part cleaned, then we'll swap those relays. All right, back together. Perfect? No, but it is better. All right, next thing we're working on is these two relays. We're gonna get those two swapped out. It's going to be one of these and this one. I dropped that other one, so we'll use this guy. And like I said, I wouldn't typically go out of my way to swap one of these quick, but they're a little old, so let's get her done. Alright, so there's one thing on these two. Don't forget, on the front of the relay is the actual layout of the points. So if you ever get confused about what goes where, all of the wires in most i3 ovens, especially these older ones, this is why I really love like a 2013 model, everything is labeled with the place that it's going to go on that relay. So if you're ever confused, the newest relays have it labeled on the front, or it'll be labeled right on the actual point of the relay. So when you look at it, that's how I'm kind of getting away with some of this, of just like, oh, how does he remember how to put where everything goes? Well, I don't. I just read. Where it does become a bit more difficult is if you are dealing with, say, an older style, or I mean a newer oven, and newer ovens have the not so great benefit of being kind of not as well labeled. If that's the case, take a picture before you do it. Lots of our techs take pictures before they do a task, and it is extremely valuable. You get a ton of value from taking a picture before you do something, and it allows you to quickly be able to make a repair. So like this one is number 8, so we know he's going to go on the back. And you definitely don't want to mess these up. And this one is number 6, and this one's number 5, so that can't be 6. It's 2. So 2 is in the front, 5 is the next one. So the way it should go is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 5 is the middleest of all of them, which is what we're dealing with here. So that's 5. And then 2 goes here. And there we go. Swap out all those relays quick, and we're off to the races. So next thing we want to do is we actually want to give a label on all these too, so the next person, you know, not everybody knows exactly which every one of these is. So we give a date, and we give a, because we want to know when it was replaced, and then also we want to give them a, you know, this is the K6. Sure, everybody should know it, but doesn't mean that's necessarily the case. So K2, K3 with an 8, 18, 24, and then K6, and you don't have to have the best writing in the world. Oop, and by 24 I mean 25. Working in the past now. Alright, and that's as quick as that can go. So like I said, older ovens, they're nicely labeled. That helps a lot. But I mean, if you're starting to see a 2013 with the original labels, we haven't necessarily had any issues, but this is a reason, this especially could be a reason to roll back. The other thing we probably want to look at is this capacitor diode pack that sits on top of here. If we were getting callbacks and having issues with this oven, he'd be the first thing I'd be going after. That's probably the original, so that's been in here for a long time. So it's probably time for that to also be retired. So hopefully this helps you out. I know it was just an F3 mag current, or it was just an F1 blower air. And yeah, that was pretty quick, but it's the little extras that make a difference, and it makes it so you don't have to come back. So thanks for joining me on this Monday of Mondays. I am going to get to the next service call. We're working a little bit late today to get a little bit more done. I think we're off to a fresh blends machine, not picking up chemicals. So thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.